Hello, beautiful creative. My name is MJ. I am your creative slash spiritual coach, and we do a lot of creative support work here on this channel. So, welcome to the Creative's Mirror. If this is your first video, go ahead and watch the first video of this part of this 4-part series about stop suffering for your success in the creative field. So, this is two, like I said. And this one's about rewriting the narrative, like work as play. And this is me doing that. At a coffee shop. I have the whole like backyard like situation to myself, and I was like, you know what? I have been putting this recording thing off for a while, and so here we are. We're just doing the things as fun as possible. Like, the fear is real, okay? So we're just working through it. And so today we're going to work on part 2. I have a newsletter that I put this series out on, and you should go check that out. I put it down below. We're doing a Q&A series with a bunch of my favorite creatives, so you should go check that out too. But without further ado, because we're not here to do all that, I'm on a redo. So here's a question. What would it look like if work didn't feel like work? Not in the quit your day job and move to a tropical island sense. Though, let's be real, that sounds fantastic. But in the way that things you do have to feel less like a chore and more like play. For creatives especially, this question lands differently. Creativity, by its nature, is supposed to be fun, right? But somewhere along the way, many of us started treating it like a burden or 9 to 5, like with judgmental customers, deadlines, and god-awful benefits. It's a funny thing about creative work. On its best days, it feels effortless, like you're in the zone and nothing else matters. Hello, glorious flow state. But on its worst days, it can feel like dragging a boulder up a hill in the rain while someone critiques your form. The pressure of it feels like it's trying to crush you. It's no wonder so many creatives don't even want to get started using their passions for more than hobbies. I used to buy into that mindset too. Honestly, I still fall into it sometimes. For years, I treated every for-profit task like it needed a side of suffering to be meaningful. Even when I started working for myself, choosing work that I genuinely wanted to do, I found myself turning simple tasks into uphill battles. Writing felt heavier, creativity felt forced, and every little thing came with an invisible checklist of ways I wasn't enough. And then in the last couple years, something started to shift. I got fired from a job that on the surface was great, but was killing my soul. After feeling rather betrayed, I decided I was sick of working for others' dreams. I went back to restart my old business. Let's see what this new determination can do, I asked. And I noticed that when I approached work, creative work or admin style work, with lightness and let myself play, it didn't just feel better, it was better. Ideas flowed more freely, the words came easier, I wasn't completely drained after, and the work didn't feel like work at all. It felt like what it was meant to be, creative. I think back to when I first let go of the 9 to 5 grind. I'd worked myself to exhaustion, leaving no room for creativity, and the worst part, I realized I did it on purpose. God forbid I leave room for joy or fun. It didn't feel deserved. So I took time off to recenter. I forced myself to find joy in the small things, unhurried walks, washing dishes, and even unfiltered word vomiting on paper without judgment. Hello, journal practice. It wasn't easy. It was rough, honestly. But slowly I found myself settling into a more present, content mindset. The mundane felt lighter, the act of doing felt less like a weight and more like a rhythm I could follow. For creatives, this mindset is a game changer. when we stop treating our art and lives like it's supposed to be hard, we make room for something magical to happen. We let the work breathe. We stop chasing perfection and start experimenting, playing, and exploring. We remember what drew us to creativity in the first place. Not the results, but the process. And here's the thing. The process is where the magic happens. You know that feeling when you get when a line of dialogue just like lands, and when the colors of the painting finally come together? That's play. That's joy. It's not something you have to wait for or earn. It's something you can invite into your work every single day. Of course, this doesn't mean every task will suddenly feel effortless. There will still be emails to send, invoices to file, and rough drafts that make you cringe. But even in those moments, there's room for lightness and less judgmental hand. Maybe it's putting on music that makes you smile, typing the draft with a cat on your lap, or stepping outside for a few deep breaths. Maybe it's reminding yourself why you're doing this in the first place, because you love it, or because it's part of something bigger you believe in. One of the most freeing realizations I've had is that work doesn't have to be perfect to be valuable. Let me say it louder for the people in the back. Your work doesn't have to be perfect to be valuable. I found for creatives, that's a big one. It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking every piece of art, every project, every word you put out has to be flawless to matter. But what if it doesn't? What if the process itself is enough? What if the messy, playful, imperfect act of creating is the whole point? So here's my challenge to you. The next time you're staring down a task that feels daunting, ask yourself, how can I make this lighter? Maybe it's giving the task a ridiculous nickname or turning it into a game. Maybe it's letting go of the idea that it has to be hard to be worthwhile. Maybe it is let yourself play a little. You might just find that the work feels easier and that your creativity has room to flourish. Because at the end of the day, creativity, work, and play are just parts of our lives, and we deserve to exist, enjoy with all of it. The more we embrace that, the less work feels like work, and the more life starts to feel like something we don't just endure but enjoy. Of your face. So I just want to add something that I don't think that I really went into too much in this, and that like reminding yourself why you're doing the work in the first place is like one of the most important things that I've done for myself in my creative work. Feeling like it has some impact, even if I can't see it. One of my friends, we talk about this incessantly on like every workshop call, every poetry circle, everything that we do together, it always comes up. It's this idea of invisible impact. And I don't really go into this, but like finding that like moment where you're like, this is going to touch somebody in some way that's impactful is really important. Like super important. And it does bring like a wee bit of heaviness to the work, and that if you let that particular thing like consume you, it can kind of add a layer of like stress to it, but in the best way possible. Honestly, you can keep it light. Like have mantras like it doesn't need to be perfect to be valuable. It doesn't need to be perfect to be shared. And my idea of perfect is different than somebody else's idea of perfect. Maybe when you put it out, someone will think it's perfect, even with the flaws and all. Do you know what I mean? So it's that our versions of things aren't necessarily someone else's version. And sometimes how we see something is not, like there's a time and a place for perfection. And it's not always every piece of work. And as you grow as a creative, when you really get into your craft, you'll know when something's ready to go out, right? And for me, like a lot of this is, again, it's showing up. It's doing these videos, even when they're not perfect, even when there's noises and people are around, or like we're in this situation and I'm reading to you. It's not like I'm doing it like to you, right? I'm reading you my newsletter. You know, it's not perfect, but it's done, right? And it's going to be out there, and it's going to be posted, and it's here. You're watching it. So it's out. So hopefully that helps. We can try to make things lighter, put on some music. Like, I'm doing this in the alleyway in the back of a coffee shop. Like, you know, it's because I was like, I need to be somewhere other than home. You know, the atmosphere is great at home. I've created this wonderful atmosphere, and we have a wonderful place. But I just needed something different. So this is lovely, and we're outside. It's like half the battle is being outside sometimes, grounding yourself. So I can go on forever, but this is part 2. Continue watching for part 3. I'm gonna put this in a playlist, and we're gonna do this together. Continue creating a lovely face.